PM Up gifted a tier 1 sub to Turtle Facts. They have given 77 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you. All right, chat. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? All right. Sorry. Venom came in here right as I was right as the timer was ending here. There we go. All right. I come to you today. Listen. I hear you loud and clear, y'all. It's a rough day. It's a rough time. It is the first day of the rest of forever. Yeah, I'm gonna hit this here with this oven pizza that I didn't know I was gonna be awarded with here. I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is gonna be a chill 1 hour stream. And I kind of want just to talk for a little bit with y'all. I don't know. Discord ping. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna be real here. Y'all are here. We're here. So let's just talk for a second, I guess. I feel some sense of duty with the community, right? To y'all been there for me so often, and I wanna be there for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know for some of my community, you're like, maybe you're in USA and you're LGBTQ, and it's gonna be rough. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's gonna be really fucking rough. Jamal lost, Trump won the popular vote at that too. And there's a lot to unpack there. You know, if we go over here and just kind of like stare at this, right? Just really embrace the reality we're currently in here. Sorry, give me a second. Let me get this a little quick. Maybe we sit here and we look at this, right? And you wonder, you know, there's a lot to unpack. I'm sorry, I was taking a second here. There's a lot to unpack here for sure. Well, first, I do want to say I'm here for y'all. I'm here for, you know, if anything I can do to help make y'all feel better, let me know. Above everything here, I'm kind of actually remembering here, I've been pretty critical on myself with how my content transformed in 2020. I remember I extensively was covering the daily White House briefings, and just kind of like in my own way having a peril with making sense of the situation with like not just COVID happening, quarantine happening, but really the lack of anything good being done about it here. There wasn't like a populist uprising. There wasn't like a rejuvenation in pro-science measures. It was kind of a doubling down on faux intellectualism and just like, well, if I don't see dirt, you know, it ain't real. And if I can still smell your fart through a mask, why the fuck would I wear one for this fucking COVID shit? That's for soys. All right. I get you loud and clear. So I'm thinking back now and I'm looking at where I am currently and I'm like, okay, I can't let that mistake happen again. I can't let this like consume my content and become like, I can't have the stream become my own coping therapy. I gotta rise above that and like be there for y'all. Y'all come through here, and obviously coming through here and me just telling you how depressing and terrible everything is as an informant wasn't a good angle in 2020, clearly, because I had massive amounts of unfollows and viewership that plummeted off a cliff, quite honestly. Totally get that. I've learned from that, and I was at the cusp of, you know, really getting everything good, and then here we are again with the unbelievable. So I don't have a schedule today. Want to do a little 1 hour stream because I know it's already been late. Kind of just walk y'all through. If you want my insight, I wouldn't mind elaborating on why I was optimistic. Though again, you can have all the polling data in the world. It's just a projection in comparison of what the turnout and the demographic breakdowns would be. Now that we have the evidence and the data and the insight, it kind of does tell a big story here over what happened here. Why turnout for the Democrat Party was so bad compared to 2020, and how Trump overperformed and what led to this here. There are so many factors at play that it's really like, it's hard to really narrow it down. You're gonna hear a lot of pundits. They're gonna throw up some pretty impulsive stuff. Maybe you've been reading it. Maybe you haven't been on like any of the social medias today to see. Honestly, there are people who are saying that, oh well, a black woman president just can't be. The country's too sexist and maybe too racist to do this. I don't agree with this actually at all. I don't think it was a identity politics. Well, identity politics is certainly a factor to consider. I think there are more prevalent factors that go into why this happens. This happened here. So the live doom scrolling in 2020 was hard to watch, but what wasn't was your drive and enthusiasm into certain fundraising organization efforts. I appreciate stuff like the BLM donations and stuff. Well, thank you, bro. I you know, that was a thing for everyone. That's why genuinely, it's really easy for me to be hard on myself and be like, man, I really misplayed there. But I mean, COVID was like a once in a lifetime situation. Hopefully it will remain once in a lifetime. And how everyone dealt with it and coped was, you know, a very non-linear process, me included. Perhaps I'm too empathetic to a fault and I just found myself unable to, and I perceived it as irresponsible to just play games and kind of pretend it's not happening. Like, yeah, it was fucking terrible. And maybe my political enlightenment from like 2015 to 2019 just kind of gave me the unfortunate tools to be able to perceive the entirety of the situation and not just like leave it to like a surface level news consumption of like what the news tells me. I knew what was going on. I knew what other countries were doing here, and we could have easily incorporated those measures, and we just chose not to. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I knew all that, and also didn't think we had a country of full of people who were so susceptible to misinformation and being too far gone. Calling MAGA a cult was kind of like a bit of an insult, one could say. I mean, it was heavily active and then, but like 2019, 2020, calling it a cult then wasn't as like accepted as compared to by the time we get to post midterms where MAGA frenzy is just going crazy. Ultra MAGA, dark MAGA, they know they're a cult. They just don't care anymore. They don't even care about the external perception of how bonkers and diluted the whole thing is. They exist in their own reality distortion field, and they're okay with that. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, I did make some mistakes there in terms of the content. I mean, I'm clearly living proof of it right now here, but I think we'll get back, and we'll do some. So I did want to walk you through a couple of things.
Glad to be here with you, RN Trill.
Hey, what's up, Kapuka? Yeah, we chilling. Glad to have you here as well. I'm actually glad to all of you here right now. Perhaps I needed y'all as much as maybe y'all want to see me right now. Believe that. Believe that. Question. Aura Zed asking, right, was it you? I'm sorry, I wasn't here. Man, I had the comment. Anyway, I'm sorry, I just missed what, oh, here it is.
Gold Yoshi, now try gold.
Max Euphoria, congratulations on the golden Yoshi. Thank you so much for being supportive. Big tier 2 love right now. I'm coming for you. Well, first though, quick question. Do you think Trump would have won 2020 if COVID had never happened? Honestly, Trump had COVID in the bag. If Trump had simply not been so like short-sighted and embraced medical science and even done the grift of like Trump branded, MAGA branded masking and had all of his supporters adopt it, that may have been enough to be able to mitigate the widespread amounts of COVID. I think it's simply because he just refused to wear a mask. He unfortunately perceived it as like an attack on his masculinity to wear a mask, and from there people followed suit. There's other factors too, like with the whole like Fauci mask withholding thing to have supplies and have PPEs for nurses and whatnot, which was kind of a misplay and definitely a bit of a deception there. But in the end, though, I do think here that had mask adoption been like utilized from the very jump here, that would have certainly helped, and would have maybe also, had there been the proper education to like foster what the mask is there for. It's not to protect you, it's to prevent the spread if you have it. It's a compassion thing for your fellow neighbor, as we Americans should all be united together here. Perhaps it would have been a different story, but I digress though. What really would have gave Trump the easiest layup to 2020 re-election would have been that, like, if he had embraced the populist factors that were prevalent when doing economic reform during the pandemic, or during the quarantine, particularly here, in the similar way that the ACA, whatever, American Healthcare, whatever it's called here, the thing that we colloquially know as Obamacare. Obama donned the name, ran with it, so it was Obamacare. Trump could have easily taken the stimuluses that, you know, the $1,300 paychecks and the everything else here, that, call it Trump bucks. If he would have owned up to it and been like, oh no, it's Trump bucks and fuck everyone in the house, $2,000 check straight up here. Like, if he had like taken Bernie's initial proposition of the $2,000 checks monthly for everyone, not just those who had to like apply for it through like the unemployment offices that were comically underqualified to be able to deal with the volume of influx there. Had it been like a Trump branded thing and everyone's like, oh, Trump got me during this hard time right now, it would have been a landslide re-election. It's the political insight to not understand the value of populist rhetoric is insane. Just corporate greed and just like short-sightedness is kind of what dilutes what could have been like slam dunk plays if his political intuition was more savvy. But that's just my insight into like the biggest factor that would have led to a very easy re-election in 2020 for Trump. It's not the only one though. There's plenty of others here. I'm just gonna bring up that one. The convo was like whatever anyway, because it's all hindsight shit now here, but yeah, for sure. He definitely could have. Wandering Zero, thank you so much. Okay, so all right, eating real quick here. That pizza be hitting right now. Okay, thank you everyone again. Really appreciate y'all being here. What's for dinner? Well, it was gonna be meal gains, but you know it's one of those days right now, y'all. This is definitely a pizza and ice cream kind of night. If you got the ice cream in the freezer, you can go ahead and pull it out. You know, it's the first day of the rest of our lives here, so let me think here. Let me first just kind of spit here on where my brain was when I did look at the results, right? Obviously, I was shocked to see that Harris was getting steamrolled everywhere, and it was looking pretty tight. But then once, you know, I think around like 2 a.m. once I saw that Pennsylvania was going to be called for Trump here, I'm like, okay, well that's pretty much it here. She'd have to like take everything else, and I don't think everything else is even going to matter at this point here. I think it's already going to be at a 270, and so here was my initial reaction to the whole thing. My initial reaction was, oh my God. I was prepared to deal with the MAGA cult and coexisting with them. Sure, whatever, right? Forever. Because even if Trump lost, he would just move on to like, you know, grifting and whatever, calling, you know, Stop Steal 2.0 and just having perpetual victimhood because it would be a lucrative grift for merch and everything else here, and press tours nonstop and red meat for the wolves and whatnot, right? I get that. But what we're gonna get now, though, and what makes me really sad here is that this is like an irreparable, like, ink blotch in the culture of American fabric forever. He will get a second term. He will do a second term, and he will die the greatest prophet ever for, you know, some, you know, apparently a much larger portion of the country and nation here, I guess. The optics be damned. The xenophobia, the racism, the misogyny, the misinformation. In the end, all that's like maybe just more of a something you only consume if you're chronically online, or maybe conventional mainstream news is like not the portal people are consuming these days, and they're already so warped in their social media bubbles of misinformation on Facebook that they don't even really know what's going on. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure really what's going on there, but there's plenty of data to consume and reflect upon how we got to this point here. But for me though, it was like, okay, it's MAGA forever now. That's what's gonna be, and you have to kind of make peace with that. Like, you're now gonna have to like really sit here and think back here that all of the ruptures in your life, if you had a populist progressive ideology, this is it. You know, there is no, he gets to have the second term, he'll end on a fat W, and the perception of, like, you know, electability. He got awarded the popular vote, so you can't even attack them on that at this time. And man, that is something really hard to swallow here. You just got to deal with, like, you know, in a way here, I guess here, I'm sorry, my blackness will show here. You're just going to deal with a lot of uneducated racist people forever. That is inherently what America's going to be now, or what it has been, what it's always been, honestly, here. But like now, it's like the freak flag can really fly. The cult ideology was already in full throttle, but it's like, man, I see this shit so often in Louisiana. It's just like exhausting and depressing. And it's just like, right, like, really. So it's kind of like that. That's the ick that I had right away. I'm like, oh, man. But that was me, you know, in the heat of the moment, 2 a.m. last night. Pretty sad. I'm not going to lie to you there. Where I am now, about 18 hours later, I would say, is more like, this is bad. And there's a lot of bad that's going to happen here for sure, which I'll get into at some point here later in the stream. But it's nothing we haven't already done before. I mean, it's been a decade of Trump, or approaching a decade of Trump here. You know, if anything, it's more like we're victims of the expectations. I expected things to kind of like not get accelerated into becoming worse. But perhaps it was my optimism that dooms me to where I'm so sad in the moment. Yeah, I was ready for politics to be boring. Actually, I agree. But you know, I'm not a fan of having to be this hyper attentive because so many stabilizing fabrics of the federal government will completely crumble here if Prior 2025 gets enacted as they outlined before this election. So that's where I was. Just, you know, like, man, uneducated racist people buy the gallonful going forward forever. I mean, there's nothing here now. Like, him being denied a second term was going to be the super lucrative onus to just kind of like we can move on past this. But now that it's this, it's going to be irreparably consequential. It's going to be, you know, climate change is like a total joke now. Like it's totally out the window. It's going to be a darker world altogether for sure. If you're aware of the ramifications of a second Trump term, and I feel like my audience pretty much is here, but you know this is going to be like some severe sludge to trek through going forward. So, okay, with that, let's back it up then, right? So, Harris underperforming. Again, here the thing that I've been seeing here is that like, it's, you know, people are on the optics here. A black woman, it's divisive. You know, white men, or really maybe men altogether here, don't want to vote for a woman. Women are too emotional. There's a lot of this going on here. I don't really agree with it. And don't worry, I'm not here to make like a glazing like believe women shit. Y'all know me, I love women. I'm a feminist. I don't think that's cringe at all to admit, honestly. I think it's just rational if you follow the history and everything else here, right? But no, here's the problem. When you break down the demographics here, and you see that Latinos, I believe 18 to 30, swayed like 22 percentage points to the right between 2020 and 2024. When you see that white women still voted overwhelmingly for Trump, something went on here. Like, this map is indicative that like the climate we're in now is very different than where we were in 2020. And to me here, this is a massive blunder on the Democratic Party. While I did sound confident yesterday that Harris was gonna like take it because I feel like the optics of the situation were clear. While I'm not voting for Harris in enthusiasm, I should have clarified here. I was voting for Harris in enthusiasm on the basis of harm reduction. I'm not happy with either candidate, quite honestly. I think Harris's foreign policy is atrocious, clearly here. I think the campaign strategy to appease Republicans and moderates was silly. The momentum you had always was stemming from pretty much, I would say, when Tim Walz was appointed to your VP over Josh Shapiro. That told me that there was like, okay, you're aware of what Tim Walz is cooking, and this could actually work. But the campaign strategy we saw that kind of like came to be here towards the late executions felt really just kind of like a wet noodle to the face. But I still felt like in the end, though, Trump's campaign was so sloppy and so bad with like, you know, the initial debate into appointing J.D. Vance into the Madison Square Garden fiasco entirely. Plus all the other shit here, the McDonald's co-op, the garbage truck driving thing. There's so many like just things that were on a political surface level were cringe and dumb. But we also exist in the social media age where everything can be memeified hardcore. And admittedly, memification will go a very long way. And I don't really know like what normies were consuming these incidents through the filter of that. I don't know, but it's clear here that whatever Harris's campaign was doing was not working because it was pissing me off as an online person. So I can imagine for the offline normie, it must have been like extra like unrelatable. And in the end, this is where we got here. I don't think Trump ran a good campaign, but I think comparatively, the DNC just neutered everything here. And it's really evident when we go back to how many things, because there's not like a one factor thing here. This is to me is evident of just like the entire apparatus of the DNC being completely mismanaged. You may recall here when the VP debate, when it was Tim Walz versus JD Vance, Tim Walz was defanged. It was very clearly an overcoached guy.
Bro, on God, Democrats are a choose to lose political party.
They are. They are. Now I'm gonna explain that why. So I'm gonna bring to you all the clarity I'm seeing here, and we can kind of go from there. First thing first, I want to say, if I can, this stream, I'm not dooming right now. If it comes off like I'm dooming, don't worry, I'm not. I am of course sad where we are and where we're going, but I'm not doom scrolling, and I'm not gonna like. I'm honestly, I'm here kind of to bring clarity and maybe like reason to the how, because it's like, how does this happen? So I want to kind of answer that question first, but I promise y'all I'm not like dooming right now. Yeah, dooming will be when we talk about like, I guess it's also meant to be informative here. Like, I don't want y'all to think that that's not the case here. I do want to be, I try to be responsible, and I kind of want to like, people are not aware of how bad is here. You might think I'm being hyperbole, like, oh, Trump 2 is going to be, it's bad because Orange Man bad, Cheeto Man bad. No, Trump term 2 was a very different beast than Trump term 1.
I got to meet you years ago at Anime Expo, and it was the highlight of my trip.
Shahal, or Sayhild, thank you for the Prime sub. What's up? So, yeah, so let me continue going here, right? So when we look at like the vice presidential debate, which I guess is not a major influencing factor, but it reveals how the DNC is going to operate here. Tim Walz, who called Republicans weird for being obsessed with like genitals and what you do in your bedroom and all the other weird, invasive, anti-freedom, big government intervention shit that they actually run on. They claim to be the party of family values. That's cap. They claim to be the party of small government. That's cap. They claim to be the party of like fiscal responsibility. That's cap. Everything is lies. Everything is completely like a facade and completely ass backwards here. But they don't really get called out in their lies. With that, the VP debate, it was very clear that the DNC was like so eager to coach Walz to not call them weird as they are, but instead to like, oh, well, actually, we're not so different. Me and this like completely like dipshit wannabe fascist JD Vance. Oh, yeah, we're actually not so different. And like they just kind of like defanged, declawed, and neutered Walz from being like attacking here and hopefully trying to appease like an enthusiastic voter base to kind of get engaged. And instead it was like very much just always trying to appease Republican voters, a strategy that has failed time and time and time again here. And I just don't get where they're going with that. And so when you think back to the whole thing here, it just stems from everything. Merrick Garland and the January 6th insurrection, that should have been nipped in the bud. When you think back here to how Barcelona and Brazil, like they nipped that shit in the bud, barred from office until 2030. 1,200 arrests were done immediately, and then the re-election came, and then that you had an economic populist victory at that point, right? Like we have like tangible examples of what should have happened there, and how just like sitting on your ass and doing nothing and not appointing a different attorney general under Biden's administration led to that just kind of being fickled around here. The prosecution, I guess, being delayed for like really anything before the election kind of didn't really matter. The for-profit news apparatus just not really rolling with the Epstein tapes, or whatever the hot things were here. Allegedly, the assassination attempt with Trump's ear being nicked was like a stage thing or whatever. That never really got into it never got put under greater scrutiny. The Epstein tapes, where like in 2017 during Trump's first term, Epstein's talking about how much him and Trump are like best friends and shit like that. That with Michael Wolff's withholding didn't like get chopped further or something. I don't know. Um, there's just so many things that are just accumulating to this here. Harris, I guess apparently declining to do a Joe Rogan a podcast appearance may have came off as like snobby and elitism maybe here. Like there's just so many things. When you consider here the news apparatus and how what are the top performing podcasts in this country, and maybe how important that could have been or would have been, but wasn't done. Then you go into like late game with Harris, parading around with Liz Cheney, who's incredibly unpopular. I mean, her policies are also abhorrent. I don't even know what we're doing here, playing for la with that. Harris promising to appoint Republican to her cabinet for bipartisanship for the sake of it, which is like insane and stupid, not appealing at all to the base trying to rile up here. It's like in the end, like it's just like it's an A and B thing here. Republicans constantly throw red meat to their wolves. Their wolves are eating good. Democrats just simply are not engaging their base. They actually, if anything here, they actually run away from the base. It's always like milquetoast, moderate, neoliberal incrementalism, and never like robust populist policy that gets everyone fired up here, which is crazy because again, it's the whole thing here. There are so many per state ballot initiatives that were populist, increasing minimum wage, recreational marijuana usage, abolishing like I don't know, unethical prison labor. I don't know. There's like a bunch of things that have been going on here, and there are certain states that I'm gonna cover here that had like straight up elected Democrat governments, elected Democrat officials, progressive populist policy supported, but then they voted Trump. And so just clearly to me there is like they're looking for someone to do a better job. And the problem here is the error of perception. The thing I keep hearing, now I can't prove it's true. I'm not psychic here on like what people were voting for and why, but the economy's fucked up. And they're just kind of like presuming that Republicans are the party of more pro-economy, a very broad oversimplification that's not even accurate here, honestly. And they just are not aware here that like a presidential administration's policy implementation will cascade and trickle down and take years to really see the effects of, quite honestly. So whenever you're seeing, the effects of a Biden economy, you're gonna appoint it to Trump or whatever the fuck here, right, or vice versa. But yeah, Harris herself, I mean, the evidence here is really, really clear. Biden said he was going to run for one term, changed his mind, ran for 2 terms, got hit with a bunch of like ageism accusations, which are totally valid here. And then whenever it was comically you all remember here the Trump versus Biden debate. It was terrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my fucking life. And now you've exacerbated the opportunity for a functional Democratic primary to happen to vet for the strongest candidate to be able to take down Trump. The primary doesn't happen. You privately appoint Harris, which feels very undemocratic here, which is already kind of like sad because you already have the super delegates as a system already being comically undemocratic. So you have to kind of roll with Harris. Harris herself, who has been a blunder as your VP during your entire cabinet time here. Again, I've never been kind to her. It's always been a lot of blunders in her optics and everything else here. Her campaign in 2020 attempts were also bad. I remember covering that as well. They weren't good. She was never a front runner. She was always very much behind Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. There are way better Democratic people who were just doing a better job of engaging their bases respectfully. So she was not doing a good job in 2019 during the Democratic primary, much less as VP comparatively during Biden's term. So having her is kind of like, okay, so this is who we have to roll with because we're on the verge of having like a fascist in office here, which is very much a problem clearly here. But yeah, when you combine all those things there, and then what feels like a campaign that was ran on harm reduction. Oh, I'm because that's what the optics to me were like, right? It's like, okay, well, like I'm Harris and I'm not Trump. There's like not really like there is some economic policy to be had here. It took a while, but the campaign was, I have to agree, it was kind of just goofy. It was like there was not as many you know, interviews and stops and just really hammering it in, I suppose. And you go back here and you look at this, you can kind of see here there's just not much resonance and connection with the American people. I think the failure here is just really showing that like the DNC, the Democrats really got to like reevaluate here. Will they learn their lesson? I don't know. I mean, if anything here, it's like this is a pretty scathing failure all around. I'm not even sure if people are even into like fundraising on this shit because they, the DNC was already fundraising on, oh, Roe v. Wade fell during Biden's term here. Let's donate and let's get 2022 going here. And people did. Women came hardcore during the midterms. Um, you know, holding the Senate was a really fucking hard task. Georgia had the extra runoff with Raphael Warnock versus Herschel Walker. That was really expensive and really hard. And that, black folks came in hardcore in Georgia for that one. I don't know if the country's even thankful for that at this point here now, but that was extremely hard. That was pretty much just racist Christian whites in Georgia voting completely against their own ideology, like just trying to shove in Herschel Walker, even though this guy is comically an idiot, and it's literally against a pastor. Like it's just like it's so partisan divided here. It's just at that point I'm like, okay, when that happened, I'm like, okay, white folks just vote down the partisan line. I don't know if it's like a racist thing or just like an ignorant thing, but like their pro-Christian, church-going, church-doing ideology conveniently mishaps here when we're talking about like the partisan divide between Republican and Democrat. So I look at this, I'm just like, man, there's a lot of misplays here. And it's not like a one-time thing. I think it goes all the way back to J6 being chill and just blah, blah, blah. It goes back here to her being appointed. It goes back to being inaccessible, unapproachable, unrelatable. Even for me as well, I thought, Harris was um, not the best pick. But again, the reason why I was enthusiastic to clarify there was Tim Walz. Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, he's based. I mean, he's tangibly got amazing policies all through his governance between paid time off by law, paid maternity leave off by law, minimum wage increasing, free school lunches for all public school children, period, and utilizing taxing the wealthy to be able to fund many other programs that helped with like nursing unions and a bunch of other really, really good shit here. He's how he runs the ship is really, really awesome all around, and he has a tangible track record of being based, which is so much more than people who just have like the ideals, but not the evidence, not the tangibles anyway. So Tim Walz is why I was excited for the Harris campaign, and I'm sad to see here that even with him, they just kind of took him and they just defamed him. It sucks. It's cringe. So, um, yeah, that's like a short version here. As far as like the whole, I mean, there's also another discussion to be had here about like the Latino vote. Um, Man, I can't really give a good read on that one there. I can just, the optics to me seem like that the immigrants who make it or the Latinos who are here think they're white or just are voting in pro-white causes. They think they're part of the thing. I don't know. I really can't say. I don't want to speak out my ass here. I don't really know what's going on there. What I can say more specifically about the demographic of 18 to 30-year-old men is that it's very clear that the manosphere and social media influence has swayed them really hard to the right. That is very clear to me now here. Where we were in 2020, where we are in 2024 here, social media and the demographics and these algorithms that are catered to, pro conservative right wing content. When you look at how many of these podcasts, again, I mean, you look at the whole thing, right? It's like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Hawk Tua. Like the top podcast sphere is like just dominated by conservative speaking here. So just the media presence of progressive voices, liberal causes, pro-democrat measures, it's non-existent. To get the equivalent here, I mean, what do we have aside from, like, I guess AOC being on Twitch, AOC's Instagram, Bernie's YouTube channel, if you even go there. I don't even, that's like not even like even reaching, I feel like the normie, I would say. It's like the comparatively here, it's like non-existent. The lucrative pool of emotional charged reactionary content skews towards right-wing conservative propaganda, and there's like not even it's not even close here. The media landscape is completely like obliterated. It is unironically Drake wide when it comes to how effective they are at infiltrating. How many stories have you heard here about like so and so's little brother being caught in the manosphere algorithmic loop on YouTube or whatever here? Or studies of how easy it is for a new account to be recommended Ben Shapiro in a matter of like 10 or less video clicks going in on average. Keyword recommended, not actually engaged with here. Just kind of like the algorithm skews towards these like very reactionary, emotionally charged content things. And it's like, yeah, in terms of like where the normies are in their media consumption, Democrats are nowhere to be found. Progressive and populist rhetoric is nowhere to be normalized. And the perception bias of all the loaded wording makes it all, they just call it all communism or socialism anyway, without knowing what any of these things actually mean. So it's like you can't even like, you would have to, and in the end they do support progressive stuff here. They support free college, they support legalized marijuana, but it's like you have to like, but because of the verbiage being so loaded now from all the damage of the media, the modern media landscape, it's a huge uphill battle. It's like, it's ultimately, I'd say here at TLDR, the right has won on their war on education, and the majority of Americans are so low information, they are susceptible to being swayed to vote against their interests very easily. But that's one factor of the Republicans doing well, where Democrats doing bad. I would also include here Democrats are doing horrible because they don't engage their base. They run away from it. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know if the DNC is like ran by just like elites or whatever, but it's been so painfully clear that trying to appease Republicans and being, relatively oligarch and corporate bending, pro lobbying, pro insider trading in Congress here, like, the Democrats are just like not serious. And it's very much like, oh, we'll throw crumbs at the peasants and kind of call it a day. They're just not serious about when they could be, you know what I mean? And that's really frustrating here. And it's frustrating because this election loss here was painful. In ways that I don't even, if I go into the details here, officially, I'd be sitting here just now giving you all the doom spiel about how bad's going to get. But yeah, that's kind of what I got for you there. Okay, let me take a second here and kind of look at chat now.
Try hard.
Thank you so much. Yep, thank you.
"88 months and back again. I hope life is going well for you, Trihex."
Thanks for listening again. I promise you that wasn't a dimmer thing. I'm hoping that made some sense to y'all here. I'm hoping I had brought clarity to your situation. Just to reframe or just to rephrase for a summary. Harris lost because it was a campaign not rooted in firing up an enthusiastic base, promising change all the way through here. It was a campaign that I would perceive as mostly being rooted in harm reduction, and that look how bad Trump is, and that therefore you should vote for me, rather than like focusing on what makes her based, which quite honestly I would say is not enough. You're not putting your fight in there. You're not going all the way to make it an unapologetic victory for sure. I don't think it's because of the optics here. I mean, I think the optics come into play after the campaign logistics all kind of go in there. It's Biden, it's Merrick Garland, it's January 6th going unpunished with a conclusion. It's the DNC just not being tapped into where the populists are consuming their media. They're not, Democrats are not meeting them there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a hot mess. This wasn't a problem of like the last month of campaigning. It's a problem uniquely years in the making here, and we're finally at the breaking point of just like the irreparable consequences of where we are now. Yeah. So, and I think that comes into play here. I mean, how else do you explain? This is where we get to the next thing here now. How else do you explain 15 million votes less than what Biden had in 2020? If I recall correctly, Biden had 82 million votes, and then Kamala here right now has approaching 68 million votes. That's a decline. And also Trump too. Trump has less votes here. If I recall, he had 74 million in 2020, and it'll be ending around approaching 73 million. So he had less votes this time around here. So again, the misplay seems to be severely that like Democrats really dropped the ball more than like Trump did better. So yeah, it's that's really what you got to see here. Look at when you're looking at what went wrong. It's not that like Trump succeeded. It's more that Democrats did a fucking terrible job, and there should be a really deep discussion about what happens next. So before I go into like today's like thing of like tweets, let me take a second here and kind of just like give you all a few things of promise here, if I can. Promise one, do not worry. My stream will not be a political doom zone forever. I understand recently I've been covering politics a lot, and maybe y'all have been waiting for like gameplay. I hear you loud and clear. Trust me. Honestly, and I promise you here, it's because my internet has been down. The internet outages have made my streaming like be interrupted continuously, and so therefore when I'd come live with the internet being all wonky, it was like, okay, well, there is a backlog of commentary I could deliver here, or I could just kind of like play games and not talk about the most important election of our lifetime or whatever. So I intended to stream more often and give a counterbalance of gameplay along with the commentary, but it just is what it is here. So don't worry, don't think here I'm going to be like dooming or whatever here. If you're like exhausted, don't worry. We're moving on after this here, because I've already like kind of said my piece, and there's not really much more I can contribute to it other than like we weather the storm and kind of go from there. So I appreciate y'all being here right now, but don't worry, it's not going to be like it won't be like me yapping every day. While I'm enthusiastic about making a better tomorrow for everyone here, and my engagement in politics has always been rooted in solutions and bettering for everyone. In the end, it's like I have to inspire positive change, and that starts with like delivering what the people want, which is of course compelling content, the gameplay, and making a difference there, and kind of going from there. It'll be numbing for a little bit, but I can't sit here and just like and ask y'all to be patient while I just kind of like cope with the reality that we're in. No, I gotta get in here and do it. You know what I mean? So I want to promise y'all that, all right? And then, so yeah, we're gonna be getting back to gameplay. I can't say tomorrow, but definitely Friday we will be back on gameplay. So, oh, thank you, dragons are cool, and thank you everyone. I'm Black Suit, Soviet 5 low, yeah, for sure. And also I want to be here for y'all too. Again, my community, whether you are gay, black, white, minority, whatever here, like, I think if you're in my community, then you're probably like-minded like me. You are a compassionate, loving person who wants better for everyone. And obviously, it's saddening to see that this what the reality we're going to be in for the rest of forever, quite honestly. But at the same time, here we have each other. At least we have each other. You know what I mean? I'm not alone, and you're not alone. You know, I got half my family are Trump-loving lunatics I don't even talk to anymore, quite honestly. And so, you know, I come here and I stream with enthusiasm every time I do it because, you know, I'm in a hotbed. I'm in Louisiana, and let me tell you, it's about as red as it gets, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. Like, again, I still say here that Texas is actually a purple state. It's just a state that's so deep with voter suppression, gerrymandering, and redlining that the voter suppression is so severe that it's unable to show its purpleness. Louisiana, comparatively, is just like giga fucking red. It is just period red. When we look here, and I mean, you can see literally where all the pockets of blue, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport. This is where all the black people are. Literally, that's simply it. It's just it's a bunch of everything else is just going to be like down the line Republican and like not even close anywhere else. So, okay, all right. So, what else am I gonna say next here? I had more promise here. I promise to give more gameplay. I promise these conversations are meant to be constructive and always bring solutions. Okay, right. And so with that, let's take a second and talk about what hope there is, right? Let me really give y'all what I feel like no other streamer is going to give you here. Okay, so hear me out, right? Obviously, it's going to be really rough here. Trump's second term is going to be pretty fucking crazy. I don't know if I believe Republicans have the Senate. I don't think they have the House currently. So there's a slim margin of power that may not be had there. And if Democrats can keep the House, then they will not have the ability to kind of just steamroll everything they want right away. They can still do a lot because they have the 6-3 conservative majority Supreme Court. So they can still do a lot out the gate. It's going to be terrible for trans and gay people. I'm just going to be totally real here. It's going to be fucking nuts. But they can't do everything if they don't have like House and Senate unified all the way through here. And so that means they have to at least wait until 2026 and have like the midterms happen there where they can, and their agenda, flip more seats and also try to keep the Senate. So so there is that. Keep that in mind here when we're talking about it. But let me remind y'all of the real hope that there is in this situation in substance. In 2028, the United Auto Workers Union has their strike is going to be expired, or their contracts are going to be expiring and up for renewal. They have unified their contracts expiring along with like 3 other adjacent industries. And it could potentially lead to ideally a general strike. This seems like a really hard sell right now, but I think here, if you've been paying attention and you're looking at Trump's economic policy and what they're promising in Project 2025, and also what's going to be, I'm sure here, a bunch of swooning from rich billionaires who are going to happily like just feed Trump anything they want, and they're going to be able to get it here. In the end, it's going to be no consumer protections. It's going to be, you know, corporate greed, which is already at an all-time high. And it's going to be, like, I don't know what you even call it now. It's like corporate greed in the 5th gear. And, like, we're inventing a 7th gear to shove it all the way through here. Just, like, you know, completely just polluted, corrupted economy that will just be, like, bonkers and overfed by greed and misinformation. I don't even want to get into like what that means here because it's just such a negative thing to envision here. But if you think what we're dealing with now is painflation, that was more so just like, I'd argue here, a very milquetoast Democrat Party not being proactive on the ample evidence of corporate greed at an all-time high with like price gouging and everything else here. No, we're talking about like, you know, take this like times 10. I don't even know, like it's hard to even like fathom because it's kind of like what happens when corporations and greed just go all the way through here. I mean, we're here, let me just give you a sample. I'm sorry, I shouldn't I'm derailing my point already here, but like just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, okay? Here's a clip from CNBC today here talking about the market today. But also notice, well, I'll let it play here and you're going to hear about it real quick.
Out of some stuff.
I'll tell you one winner, guys, is the M&A market.
Oh, okay.
Banks up 6 this morning.
You're going to be more relevant than ever.
Thank you, Jim.
No
I've
problem.
been looking for that opportunity.
I just thought I should throw that in.
Yeah, my old beat there of M&A is most likely going to get quite busy. I mean, you can just, you know, in fact, even this morning, a couple of CEO conversations I had in the media industry, for example,
is David Zaslav the big winner? Is Zaz the big winner?
I think the flexibility that many of these companies will now have that they felt they did not under the current administration is going to be significant, and it should allow for a lot more potential deals in industries that are desperate for some level of consolidation. Obviously, when it comes to our parent company, we've been talking only recently about this possibility, strong possibility of a spin-off of the cable networks of NBC Universal. That includes ours. Happy to go into that in more detail. But if you're Comcast, does it allow, for example, for you to consider a charter deal?
Exactly what I was thinking,
for the cable side,
David.
because that's certainly something. I mean, you can go down a lot of roads. Guys, remember Exxon and Chevron, just to put this in perspective, talked about a deal. Now, there is no way you could have ever imagined a deal like that previously. I'm not saying in any way that is
Chevron and Exxon talking about a merger. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Holy shit.
Likely to happen, but it's the kind of thing you can at least contemplate again,
right,
because there is not going to be nearly the strictures on consolidation that there have been in this administration.
No, you're right. I mean, I've known.
Okay, I'll just stop there. We should get the idea now. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about like late stage capitalism consolidations at a capacity and quantity that has previously been unfathomable. Such massive consolidation of wealth that what could you, like, how do you even enforce penalties other than like scaling the penalty fee to a % of the revenue to tier the abuse? You know what I mean? Remember how, for example, remember when, just to give you an idea here in substance here, remember when minimum wage federally didn't increase because you had obstructionists like Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin on the Democrats voted down? And so, therefore, the 50-50 Senate tie wasn't able to get to a tiebreaker where the Vice President Harris could be able to tie break the vote, and it didn't happen, right? Remember that? So, therefore, minimum wage didn't increase. Essential workers went to go work during hazardous conditions, during COVID and quarantine, and they weren't given the money they were promised. That sucked. And then whenever all the corporate greed came in with the painflation, what did all the places do? They all just ran tight labor. They didn't have enough workers staffed, and they were okay delivering, C- quality in effort to have like the labor remain, depressingly low pay all the way through here, because normalizing higher pay was going to make the labor run high for them compared to what they're used to with their greed and their exploitation. So we got to a point where it cascaded all the way down to fast food, to McDonald's. McDonald's, which is like a 94% franchised operation, have these like, you know, these scathing capitalist dorks who do the franchising, and they run it as tight as they can because they want all the profit for themselves, clearly, right? And what they were doing, I'm getting to the end point here, they were just hiring, you know, 16-year-olds and then lobbying these red states like Arkansas to just like relax worker restrictions on minors and letting like 14-year-olds work longer, letting 16-year-olds work overnight, shit like that, and whatnot. And so in the end here, what happened was there were certain McDonald's that definitively had labor violations. Like they were unironically just like letting minors work way more than what was statewide legally allowed to be done. They were fined for this, but the fine in the end was like a set amount. It was like whatever, like $20,000. I think it was a cap on what they can fine them per day in the fee. And so in the end, what happened was they would just violate it and then just pay it in bulk and then move on with the shit. It was the cost of doing business. The penalty was not scaled to the revenue they generate. It wasn't a percentage, it was a set amount. And that is what 100% is going to happen here with these big, massive corporate consolidations. They will have so much money that the fees that are in place from like fucking forever ago are going to just be like, you know, the cost of doing business. You know, fuck, okay, whatever. There's a penalty for like doing that? Okay, fuck it, I don't give a shit. So, that's what we're talking about here. Okay, so where was I going with all this now? I'm sorry here. Right, back to the positive here. I'm sorry, that's what it is. The positive I have for you right now. So the United Auto Workers Union, their contracts expire in 2028. So do several other unioned contracts that are going to be up for renegotiation. When those happen, the idea is if the truckers and the auto union workers and other ones here as well all come together and disrupt the American economy enough here to bring it to a halt, perhaps that can lead to enough momentum that you also get all the non-unioned workers to join in and possibly form a general strike. At which point, the only thing we and the vulnerable class of the majority have here is we have volume. So if a general strike were to actually happen and there were concise demands for it to be alleviated, then and only then can we actually inspire real change. It will be painful, it will suck, but it's kind of what has to happen for anything positive to really come here, for sure. And I think in this case here, like if you believe in accelerationist theory, things are going to have to get really bad before people really pay attention to what we have to do. And maybe by 2020, it'll be just so terrible that like people will then pay attention at that point. Maybe here. Now you will say here, this is a lucrative pool, you know, general strike, strikes, please. You're not wrong. It's not a light order here. It would take a lot of organizing, but keep in mind that I've mentioned this several times in the past here. The union director of the United Auto Workers Union, he had all this already planned since 2022. The guy has been mega serious about this whole thing here. He's like, okay, we're planning over 5 years out because that's how organized we got to be here to make this happen. Trump's second term doesn't change any of those plans, honestly. Here, you know what I mean? So it can still go through here. And the big weapon X here is that if they can get teachers involved too, that would definitely bring the general strike momentum all the way there. I think everyone is generally empathetic for teachers. And I would assume here, if teachers partake in, it would just go well. Now, there were teachers who did strike already. They did this during quarantine, during COVID, because of unsafe conditions and everything else here. And the media apparatus just suffocated them. They just wouldn't cover when teachers were doing strikes. Which is very unfortunate. You have to go to social media to even learn of certain districts that were on strike for several weeks, and whatnot. You know, it's been pretty brutal. You know, there was I think it was Oklahoma had a situation where teachers were being paid so little they couldn't afford their rent, and therefore the proposal was just to make schools only open 4 days a week so that teachers could have more free time to work a second job to make ends meet. Like, that's where it's a depressing sign of where U.S. education has kind of gone here now. So yeah, that's kind of the that's something to look forward to there. Maybe I'll cover it again in a full segment when I get a chance here, but I don't know if I do all that shit tonight. But you know, that is something to look forward to. There is like organizing that is happening here for a coalition in 2028. So it's not entirely doom here. So kind of keep that in mind. Perhaps now people will maybe this really bitter loss will lead to a lot of people waking up here that in the end, Democratic Party, it needs to be, I mean, comprehensively gutted and reformed from the inside out. No one likes losers. This is very fucking true here. And goddamn, do Democrats fucking suck now. Like, this is the fact that we have to live in a world now where Trump won the popular vote in addition to a re-election is honestly pathetic. It's comprehensive failure, top to bottom, and it didn't happen in 1 year for it to get this bad. It's unapologetic failure for sure. So it definitely needs to. I mean, how much consulting came from, like, you know, any of Bernie's camp this time around here? They shoved them out the door right away, and it's like, no, we're doing things in the most undemocratic, scathing, dumb way fucking possible, and still being elitist and snobby the whole way through. Yeah, I gotta call it what it is here, y'all. It's pretty fucking bad. I don't think you get to that election spread of votes without comprehensively doing bad in multiple factors simultaneously. So, okay, all right. Well, with that then, let's run through this here. I'll try to do this fast right now. So, don't worry, I don't have like too many tweets here actually, but we'll begin first with first thing first. Tim Cook. Congratulations, President Trump, on your victory. Look forward to engaging with you and your administration to help make sure the United States continues to lead with and be fueled by ingenuity, innovation, and creativity. Keep in mind here that Apple has Apple has patents in Ireland and elsewhere, complete tax havens, just like, you know, the usual shit here. So, as much as I cover Apple, I mean, it's all of them. It's Google, Apple, big tech in general, just kind of like a giant cringe missile this current time here. Really need to see the tech industry get unionized ASAP for sure, but okay. Jeff Bezos. Big congratulations to our 45th and 47th president on an extraordinary political comeback and decisive victory. No nation has bigger opportunities. Wishing Trump all success in leading and uniting the America we all love. Yeah, so Bezos came out of his pit to like congratulate that there. So, and you know, that gets his fucking erectile dysfunction ass all hard again, which tells you kind of how bad's gonna get, bro. I didn't cover it too all the way, but obviously y'all know here that the Washington Post didn't endorse Kamala because clearly Bezos wanted a Trump victory here. So yeah, it's Lex Luthor all the way through for sure. A takeaway from the results. It looks like America shifted right a lot. Some of this has to do with the frustrations over inflation, sure, but I think there's more here. Democrats have been running campaigns the old-fashioned way, and I think we need to acknowledge that it's not cutting it. We raise money like crazy and mop the floor of Republicans and voter contact efforts, GOTV operations, and advertising. We also get way more major endorsements, but at the end of the day, it barely makes a difference. Most voters get their news through social media and on social platforms, and we're getting washed. Since 2015, Republicans have been building up their infrastructure to control the airwaves, and right now, they do. Their content gets more impressions on nearly every platform, and on YouTube and Spotify, and it's not even close. It is true. The only way to fix this problem is huge investments in our digital apparatus. We need more creators and lots of them. We need our own Daily Wire, toilet paper, Turning Points USA, PragerU, equivalents, etc. Until that happens, we will be fighting a losing battle. This is true. We are fighting a losing battle on optics. When you have to spend most of your time fighting misinformation rather than spreading the cause and message, Yeah, we're already losing that fight then, right? Politics is a messaging war. We will only win if our message is stronger and hits more people than theirs. 100%. 100%. As I covered before here, that it's really, you just kind of see here the whole media landscape and how completely fucked we currently are on that one here. So Missouri voters voting for abortion rights, an increase in minimum wage, and paid sick leave, and a senator and president who strongly oppose those things is where we are in a nutshell. Yeah, that is definitely definitely something here. Definitely a what's important to note there is the mismatch, right? Like I said, there were multiple states where they voted down the line. Ballot initiatives were progressive. Local governance, whether it had been governor or maybe like whatever else here, Democrat. And then the president was Trump. So definitely something going on right there for sure. Trump won Starr County, Texas, most Hispanic county in America at 97% by 16 points. Last time it voted Republican was 1892. Yeah, man, definitely that Latino vote was definitely a massive slobber knocker. Latino vote swing towards Trump combined with lower overall Democratic turnout equals lost. So who would have guessed lying about Biden's cognitive health decline for 2 years, refusing to do an open conversation for a new nominee, never mentioning public health care, and embracing fracking, dancing along with the Shaneys, and a year-long slaughter of children in Gaza wouldn't be a winning strategy. Yeah. When you really add each bullet in the chamber, you just kind of see here what was to come here, right? I mean, damn, bro. Like, I mean, again, it'd be one thing if it was like a close race and it was like the usual electoral college shenanigans that Trump maybe went on, but with the popular vote, man, you really gotta take right now it's time to absolutely push the pedal and really start hitting the blame game on what's really at play here. The whole thing was fucked, and you cannot let us go any further here. Holy shit. Tim Walt's weird comments were the closest anyone with a major platform had gotten to grabbing a MAGA freak by the collar and shouting, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And purely from a therapeutic standpoint, it sucks that the consultant class clamped down on it. Totally. Again here, how like euphoric it was for Waltz to actually give a really tangible perspective on the whole MAGA movement. And then the Democrats just kind of like caging him, putting him on a leash and saying, no. Relate to them. Don't belittle them. Ridiculous, dude. Florida voters rejected a ballot measure to legalize marijuana. It got majority support, but not the 60% needed to enact under state law. Yeah, this is like the third time now, I think, that recreational legal weed has failed to meet it. I don't know if in this case here there was another like condition attached to the proposition or not. I want to talk about state ballot initiatives here when we get a chance, but like man, dude, like yeah, this was a bad time for weed actually. I think it was Montana and Florida both had recreational weed legalized and both lost both times through here. And honestly, you know what's great to do here? I'm gonna be that guy right now. Florida, can y'all read? Because what if I'm thinking here on the real right now? Like they walk into the booth, right? Did y'all read that proposition correctly? Did y'all read it and think that like voting no meant you were gonna voting no for making it legal? You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't shock me if like the way these things are kind of worded, which is a bit of a word salad here, you have to like read it slowly and comprehend like in the end is answering yes or no the negative to the result, and therefore determining, you know, okay, if I'm pro weed, I want the positive result. I want weed to be legal. Therefore, I vote no. You know, sometimes they're a little bit confusing for sure if you don't know any better. And I'm thinking here like based off of the grammar and syntax I've seen demonstrated on Facebook posting here, the average like normie Florida person walking into the booth, bro, they see like a freaking, you know, a 45 word paragraph of a proposition. They're like, bro, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know there. That's but again, we're gonna look at more details later on here. But what was the question exactly? We will great question actually. Let's go over to the Ballotpedia. Go over to Florida. Scroll down here. And Amendment 3, legalize the recreational or personal use of marijuana here. Let's read it off. How is it? Okay. All right. This is literally what they had to read, okay? When they go to the booth here. Allows adults 21 years or older to possess, purchase, or use marijuana products and marijuana accessories for non-medical personal consumption by smoking, ingestion, or otherwise. Allows medical marijuana treatment centers and other state licensed entities to acquire, cultivate, process, manufacture, sell, and distribute such products and accessories. Applies to Florida law, does not change or immunize violations of federal law, establishes possessions limit for personal use, allows consistent legislation, defines terms, provides effective date. Okay, that looks pretty, that reads pretty intuitive here. You would vote yes. Yes to allow 21s or older to buy recreational marijuana. I don't know. Maybe Florida's actually just anti-weed. Maybe people just can't read it all here. I don't know, but that's literally what the shit is here. So it's not even like a got 'em phrasing here. It's just like extra cringe all the way through. But in the end, yeah, that lost. Well, it passed, but the problem is it has to reach 60% in order to be accepted here. So it was still short. But again, look at this number though. Fucking 5.9 million to 4.6 million. Crazy. I don't know what the anti-weed thing is there. I don't know what's going on there, y'all. But again, we're gonna look at some more states here later on. There's, if you, I want to look at California. California has some fucking crazy shit going on here too. That's showing some pretty dark times here. I'm kind of shocked at these like state ballot initiatives that just did not pass here. It's pretty crazy. So let's keep going. This entire image is actually a metaphor for what it's like to be a woman. Right to abortion, Florida, Amendment 4. No. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What's Amendment 4? Let me go back here. Let me go ahead and drop a link here. So if y'all want to follow along here, you can go over to Ballotpedia. All right. Amendment 4. Provide for a state constitutional right to abortion before fetal viability. And oh, okay, I see here. It needed to reach 60% to pass again as well here. Okay, yeah, that's why it didn't happen. Damn. Very close to, by the way, but yeah. Yeah. All right, so we have here another hashtag Bernie was right moment, I believe here.
I think this is the leftovers of the 2016 kind of mess, that there were all of these issues that the Democratic Party saw laid out very clearly in 2016 after Hillary Clinton's loss, and that rather than address those issues, they moved and they migrated. What happened is that the pandemic, right? The pandemic came upon us, and Joe Biden happened to be the person for the pandemic. And I think they mistook that moment for a referendum on what the Democrats had to offer, rather than being introspective. I'll tell you one other person who I think is going to be incredibly important, actually two other people. The first person is Bernie Sanders. One of the things that Bernie Sanders has been saying since at least 2014 has been about how the Democratic Party, if it wants to keep these coalitions, needs to talk about bread and butter issues. It needs to talk about politics.
Bro, I am so happy to see y'all spamming burn right now. I needed that, y'all. I really did. Goddamn, I haven't seen the emote used in so long here. And man, yeah, this is like, you know, listen, if there's one positive trait to this day right now, it being the first day of the rest of our lives here, we got to mobilize. We got to strategize. And now is a really good time. The DNC has no excuse. Unapologetic incompetence, and failure. You need new leadership all the way through here. How that pressure comes, we will see in the coming days here. I'm going to read here. There is a Bernie tweet I retweeted here, and we got to keep that pressure going here. There's work to be done, certainly.
A lot of people attacked him for that, saying, well, are you saying that cultural politics don't matter? That's not what he was saying. He was saying we need to focus on these things. The other person is Stacey Abrams. We have not heard a lot from Stacey Abrams in this election cycle, but her organizations, particularly Fair Fight, the New Georgia Voter Project, and other organizations were instrumental in pulling together coalitions that ended up winning Joe Biden, Georgia in 2020, but also...
And that's so important. Stacey Abrams is like the reason that the Senate held, and like she is like one of the major factors over like Raphael Warnock getting over the finish line for that Senate runoff here. That was really brutal. White folks were absolutely looking to just shove Herschel Walker, a comically unqualified candidate, over the finish line. Bless her heart. That was a really hard fight.
So Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Not this time, though.
So someone there saying it, y'all. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a second then, and let's go ahead and talk about that, actually, shall we? The Bernie campaign tweets this out here as we go along. This is today. I retweeted it. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party wishes abandoned working class people. Ooh! Oh, God. So honest right now. Abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them. While Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change. And they're right. Spit it. First, it was the white working class, and now it's the Latino and black workers as well. While Democratic leadership defends status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. Today, while the very rich are doing phenomenally well, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and we have more income and wealth inequality than ever before. Unbelievably, real inflation accounted for weekly wages for the average American worker are actually lower now than they were 50 years ago. Today, despite an explosion in technology and worker productivity, many young people will have a worse standard of living than their parents. True. And many of them worry that artificial intelligence and robotics will make a bad situation even worse. Today, despite spending far more per capita than other countries, we remain the only wealthy nation not to guarantee healthcare to all as a human right, and we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. We alone among many major countries cannot even guarantee paid family and medical leave. Cringe. Not wrong. Today, despite strong opposition from a majority of Americans, we continue to spend billions funding the extremist Netanyahu government's all-out war against the Palestinian people, which has led to the horrific humanitarian disaster of mass malnutrition and the starvation of thousands of children. Yeah, Harris campaign about that. Will the big money interests and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and the political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has so much economic and political power? Probably not. In the coming weeks and months, those of us concerned about grassroots democracy and economic justice need to have some very serious political discussions. Stay tuned. So, yeah, man. If there's one thing to have like a positive light on here, it's like, okay, there's no excuse now. They learned the wrong lessons when Biden took the general election in 2020. The lessons that should have been like painfully evident back in 2016 in the first place here. But now, 2 elections of idiocracy, and we're finally at the point now where, the third one bit them in the ass. Now it's this. But at least, now is a time here. You can't fail any further than this. This is like it here. There has to be a moment of introspection to finally say, okay, yeah, fuck, this is not working here. It's embarrassing that we have to live in this reality where like Trump gets the popular vote, and we have to like live with that false positive that's going to validate the MAGA base and Trump supporters for the rest of our living lives. That's very unfortunate to have to accept here. But perhaps if you partake in accelerationist theory, that now there's nothing left to lose. We're already at worst case scenario. So all we can do now is genuinely just organize. So okay, all right, let's keep going here then. So Republicans won the U.S. Senate majority. Is this still true, by the way? They won Senate majority, but House is still being counted right now, right? Okay. So yeah, that's of course really, really bad. I haven't kept tabs on the Senate seats. I don't know which senators like lost or if there were like re-election vacuum grabs or whatever else here, but definitely not good. So Missourians have voted to raise state minimum wage to $15 by 2026, guarantee paid sick days to workers. Nothing to see here, just a centrist losing by 500,000 votes in a state where left-wing labor policy won. Again here, this to me cements the whole thing here. Cements the whole thing that, yeah, clearly it's a campaign-wide miscalculation the whole way through. All right, so California here, y'all. This is before votes were fully accounted for yet here. But let's talk about California for a second here. I got some shit going on here, bro. All right, California. Let's see here. Repeal Costa-Hawkins Rental Housing Act. So if I recall correctly, this right here is a yes vote would repeal this, allowing cities and counties to limit rent on any housing for first-time tenants and generally just rent control, right? This actually was opposed by people. I'm so confused here. Everyone agrees the rent's too damn high. What happened here? Was this like lobbied out of existence here? Like what is going on there? Rent control was a direct California ballot initiative, and it lost by over 2 million votes. I want to elaborate. This was a mixed proposition because it has a AIDS Foundation as part of it, and they were NIMBYs. Oh man, the NIMBYs. Oh my God, bro. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. And so for the uninitiated here, NIMBYs, it's an acronym. Not in my backyard. And oh my God, it is true, dude. Oh my God, old people suck so fucking hard, dude. Okay. All right. What else we have here? Increase state minimum wage to $18 an hour. What, did this not pass? All right. Is this still being counted right now? Okay, this is still being counted here. Okay, I guess we'll see what happens there. Increasing minimum wage to $18 an hour by 2026 for all employees, and thereafter adjusting the rates annually by increasing to the cost of living. Okay, nice. Again, what's even like, what would the opposition here even be? Like, why is it like, I get that, you know, it's still being counted right now, but like, all right, let's keep going here. So, there was a fucking crazy one here. Let me see here. There was one about like prison labor or some shit, or like slavery or something like that here. Let me see here. Increases penalties. Yeah, this one's crazy here. A vote yes supported makes changes to Proposition 47, including classifying certain drug offenses as treatment mandated felonies, increasing penalties for certain drug crimes by increasing sentence length and level of crime, requiring courts to warn individuals convicted of distributing illegal drugs of their potential future criminal liability if they distribute deadly drugs like fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and increasing sentences for theft based on value of property stolen here. Okay. Am I like, okay, is this like an anti-homeless thing? Is this like man, I feel like I'm not, there's some shit going on here with this bill. Holy fuck. That I'm not aware of. Yeah, there's a damn, that overwhelmingly won too. That's crazy. Okay. California, what is going on here? Okay, yeah, this one here. This was great. Here it is. All right. Proposition 6. A vote yes supported amending the state constitution to prohibit slavery and involuntary servitude as punishment for a crime and authorize the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to award credits to incarcerated persons who voluntarily participated in work assignments. And that lost. So we're pro slavery, servitude, and incarceration. Man, what is yeah, California, like what is going on here, dude? Holy shit. Brother. Make it, yeah, so here I'm gonna drop here those California ones here. That is nuts. That is nuts, man. I guess I understand here that, you know, California has like 5 million Trump nutheads that vote hardcore MAGA. It's just more that, like, you know, the liberal side of California outnumbers them generally. But holy fucking shit, dude. The country's definitely got a lot more right-leaning for sure. Where was the was it Montana? I think it was Montana here. Can I click here? I think Montana had a weed one here too. Oh, here we go. Okay. Right to Abortion Initiative. Okay, so yeah. So when abortion was on the direct ballot, Montana, which I assume here is a very red state here, voted for it. Okay, cool. You know, also heard here too. I can't confirm this here, but I had heard here another factor in Kamala losing specifically Pennsylvania, a notoriously purple state, right? Apparently, there's like 300,000 Amish people that live in Pennsylvania, and they normally don't vote, but they actually, I heard, I can't verify, I'm asking you for verification here, that like the Amish population went to go vote for Trump because of something where like a Democratic policy like pissed off. It was like something involving, there was like a Biden policy involving the milk that they use or the milk that they like produce. And it was like invading their lifestyle. And because of like this invasive thing that pissed off the Amish, they turned out and voted in the election, which may have led to Pennsylvania being a loss on their numbers alone here. So yeah, they're look into it further. This is a thing that I saw, and I didn't get a chance to like look into it to do the responsible amount of research to like, you know, to tell you with confidence here. But I heard that and I'm like, damn, wow, didn't even know that was a thing. Holy shit. So yeah, lost to milk here, bro. It's fucking wild, dude. It's wild. All right, so yeah, California been crazy. Abortion rights are beating Kamala in every single state that voted on them. Progressive policies aren't unelectable. Unpopular Democratic policies are. Montana on abortion. It won. Kamala 35%. Nebraska on abortion. It won. Kamala 44%. Abortion in Florida. Kamala below. You get the idea. Abortion. And Kamala trailing all around there. So clearly the policy is popular. The messenger is not. Really gonna beat you over the head here on that one. Really showing you here where the campaign just was not cooking there. Okay, and then so from here, yeah, that's about it. Dems bankrolled on Roe v. Wade when it's a state voting issue this year instead of just codifying it earlier. Yeah, totally. Look, I can't blame here, y'all. It's cringe. They ran on Roe v. Wade falling in 2022 for the midterms. Women came out and voted in record numbers, and they just did not codify it. Democrats love to fundraise more than they love to solve problems, unfortunately. And I don't know if I want to blame Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if I want to blame fuck everyone here at this point, honestly. Holy shit, dude. It sucks. It sucks so much ass that we are in this current position right now. Codifying it would have meant they couldn't run it. They couldn't run on it this year, though. Yeah, you're right. That's definitely a very that's definitely a promising strategy, right? Well, if we just run on it, if we just dangle the keys in front of you again, like a carrot on a stick on a treadmill, certainly you'll, I can't even make this shit post work right now. I'm so fucking annoyed. It's annoying, dude. It's so fucking annoying. It is annoying for sure. Okay. Oh, did I talk about chat here? I don't know if this is real or not, chat, but let's just take it at face value here, because I think this is like based off of how many Americans are voting against their own interests here, and are just like, oh, I want Trump for the economy, as if Trump's economic promises so far are going to be anywhere near like good things. My whole family ain't vote, and we ain't feel it. We starting to regret it now. My mama crying. Okay, first of all, y'all so rude. Second, I talked to my mom, and she fine now. We gonna vote next year. Sorry for not voting. Kamala 2025. Okay, so apparently it's not every year. It's every 4 years. Anyways, we voted for Kamala. Fuck Trump. Fuck Biden. Kamala 2028. Bruh. Even if this is fake, it don't even matter, because this is 100. Like, dude, this is it. Look, I don't even care if this is fake. That 15 million votes down from Democrats over 2020 to now here, 100% voter turnout. It just did not happen here. And in the end, I know who I blame. I blame the DNC, bro. That campaign you ran was hot garbage, bro. So, yeah, man, come on, 2025. Look, again, it's beautiful satire if fake, and if real, it's a documentary, because goddamn, that tells you exactly where we are. So, dog shit campaign, bro. And with that here, my second to last point for tonight, y'all. So, obviously, I've been contemplating here about how much more I want to engage on Twitter. Honestly, I tried to do my part here. I'm not as active as I want to be, right? And I really don't even like how often I'm on here as it is right now when we're discussing things, to be real. And I've been thinking here, like, now that we're in a Trump second term, and the now like the Elon propaganda hits different now, and it's kind of like, I don't know how much more I really want to be on this platform when it's just like gonna be just nonstop. Like, it's effectively what happens now is like, now all the MAGA-tards can like leave Truth Social and come over here, because now they're gonna be like welcomed with their like rampant idiocracy. And it's just, you have to like siphon through so much garbage to even get to what I enjoyed about Twitter, which was like unironically now like 9 years ago. So I'm gonna probably plug my Blue Sky pretty soon here. I haven't really posted there yet, but it might be a good time to start just taking that a little bit more seriously. I think for my own mental health here, it's gonna be kind of like that. I don't know yet. I'll have to look into see, but like, I will say I have been on Blue Sky before. When I've dabbed in there, it's pretty fun. There's a lot more. It's a lot hornier than Twitter is, in like a good way. Like, it's like there's like so much more like art and expression, and I'm seeing a lot of commissions from artists there. Maybe my feed's biased towards that. Maybe I'm just maybe like Mark Ruffalo, I'm always horny. No, wait, is that what he says? No, he says that I'm always angry. Or was it horny? I'm getting the mix up now here. Whatever he says, I'm that, right? So maybe that's why I'm seeing so much of the stuff on Blue Sky. I'm not quite sure here, but but yeah, you might see me over there soon. So, however, I did want to share with y'all that I did do a tweet here I thought was really important. You may have saw it, maybe you did, maybe you didn't hear, but I did drop, the reason why I was so late today was because I dropped this here. On election day, the 5 things that will happen if Trump wins: the end of free weather reports, the end of overtime pay, a ban on porn and violent video games, 0% chance for nationwide legal weed before 2050, not even joking, and make under $250,000 a year. It's going to be a bad economic policy all around for you. I break it down here. I break down what's at stake. I go ham on elaborating on the Supreme Court and why it's so important to understand here with the whole Roe v. Wade falling down and the Heritage Foundation being involved here and all the other shit here. I deliver nothing but substance here. You will notice it's a lot of words to read because there's a lot of information that I'm being very specific about. I'm hoping that this serves as like a thing that maybe that you can like use these here to maybe convince your Trump folks to understand what's to come now if they are taking Project 2025 seriously. You'll see here there are annotations: 1, 2, 3, etc. Right? I tried to make reading this as fun as possible, but whenever people are going to ask her how I'm making these claims, when we go all the way down, and when I'm elaborating on the big 5 points here, so the second tweet here, it's 4 tweets. The second tweet is me answering what's at stake, me answering why third-party voting is not a good thing to do at this time, why vote Harris Wall specifically. Answer questions first. Then I elaborate on the initial part here, the 5 points I made here about this. I elaborate on the third tweet here about end of free weather reports, end of overtime pay, ban on porn and violent video games, weed, and the economic policy shit. I cover all that shit right there for you. And I had more that I was kind of running out of time. I was making this like big ass tweet here, but end to no fault divorce, military exams required for all public high school students, inability to detect future problems conveniently, and consumer protections and worker rights destroyed. So, you know, I included, these are ones I wanted to get to here, but I just kind of ran out of time, honestly. So I did all that. What I did today, though, is I came in here and I added all of my citations. There's a lot of links here. But yeah, I included, like, for anyone who's willing to, like, who wants to learn more and read, or not. I mean, look, I don't think y'all gonna read everything I put here, but like, I included comprehensive citation for everything for people who are not chronically online. You can easily hop on this shit if you want to make a point with a loved one. You can hop on whatever you want to and just kind of like skim whatever I threw here and kind of go from there. So if you're like, okay, when Roe v. Wade fell, what's the what exactly, how did it fall? How did the Supreme Court actually do that? Is the Supreme Court actually a 6-3 conservative majority, and in what way, how? And we go back here and I link articles whenever Amy Coney Barrett was appointed, and then that became a thing here. I bring up how I use an example of the Supreme Court being important here of the fact that, like, you know, when gay marriage was legalized nationwide in 2015, how a 5-4 conservative majority had one swing vote from a conservative that led to a 5-4 victory for gay marriage, which is, I think, kind of an idea of how important the Supreme Court really is going to be here. Clarence Thomas being corrupt, the Chevron deference falling, the founding of the Chevron deference and what that means. And, you know, just, I go ham here, right? You can only post 10 links per tweet. So I had to kind of sit here and do a lot of posts to kind of get all that in there for you there. So I went pretty ham. I included everything I could think of here that you need to know about all the way through here, especially Project 2025 shit here all the way through. I mean, this was me taking the whole thing and unloading the clips. I unleashed everything I had to make a comprehensive, substance-loaded argument. Now, I know that MAGA folk won't care, and it's already over anyway here, so it's like whatever now, but like, we can come back to the post I made here, and if these unfortunate things do happen, we can go back and be like, wait, look, Trihex told me that was gonna come here. All the way through here, y'all. So if you want to, feel free to read that if you'd like. I included a lot of things here. So yeah, it's just a lot of hop in there. So I also I don't know, I had this guy here hit me up here. It was like immediately not worth reading, seeing the mention of the made-up 2025 sad Democrats spread some misinformation. Bro, I don't know who this guy is, but I fucking hit him with the whole like Trump at the Heritage Foundation literally naming it back in 2022. This guy, I mean, here, I'll just play it for I actually do want to talk to this guy here. So he says it's made up. These people are insane, yo. He says it's made up, and I dropped him 3 videos.
Our country is going to hell. The critical job of institutions such as Heritage is to lay the groundwork, and Heritage does such an incredible job at that. This is a great group, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And
so that's him at the Heritage Foundation's little summit thing, thanking them for putting together Project 2025.
Expected to hear 10 more times from the rally, the president, distancing himself from the left's boogeyman of Project 2025.
Yeah. And you're not worried about that?
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
He's running against a brand. He is not running against any people.
Okay.
He is not running against any institutions. It's interesting. He's in fact not even opposing himself to a particular policy. Yeah. He's been at our organization. He's raised money for our organization. He's blessed it from the, I remember walking into our last day in office and told him what I was going to do. So he's very supportive of what we do.
There you go. There you go. And then this is the real one here.
Tell us what you're doing at Heritage. Tell us what you're doing at Heritage. You two are now working together. These guys have come up with a plan that on the victory, the third victory, the second term, we hit the deck plates running, right? There's 4,000 appointees by a president, 4,000 to run the entire government. 1,000 of those, I think, have to be Senate confirmed. But 3,000 can start work day one. Walk through what you guys are doing. I know, and I keep asking, do you work for Johnny or does Johnny work for you, right?
I definitely work for John. So what we're doing with Project 2025 is we're recruiting the MAGA America First Republicans right now so that we can take DC by storm in 2025. We're not going to go in like we did in 2017, where the establishment took over and co-opted much of the personnel of President Trump's administration. We're more prepared this time. We're recruiting grassroots conservatives, and we want all of you, if you want to serve in the next White House, next State Department, next Pentagon, we want you to sign up. Tell your sons, tell your daughters, tell all your friends. It's project2025.org.
So, Johnny, okay, you heard that? If you guys want to serve, you've got to get engaged now. You've got to be involved now, because one of the big parts of this is networking. It's not just training people up, but those networks that we do with grassroots organizations, with other organizations. Walk through, tell me what the plan is.
So we're collecting resumes. We're getting as much information as we can now to save the transition time on the back end. As you know, when a president wins, or president-elect wins, things happen very quickly, and you have a short amount of time to staff an entire administration. It's also looking beyond the 4,000 and what we can do with the bureaucracy itself. So we're thinking of creative policy things as well that will integrate with this.
Well, hold it. When we talk about that, let's talk about schedule. I mean, is there going to be a plan in place to start to take apart the administrative state?
There has to be, and yes, there will be. The next president, if President Trump gets back in there, he needs to reorient the government that's in a way that hasn't been seen since Franklin Roosevelt did it with the New Deal. We need to gut these agencies. We need to start from scratch. We need to make a new government, essentially, because the one that we have now doesn't work for conservatives. It wasn't made for us. It's built against us. So we have to go back to the drawing board with these agencies.
Johnny, you've seen...
Yeah, y'all, that should terrify y'all. I mean, look, I thought I dropped some heat on the timeline there because I'm like, bro, these motherfuckers are. I'm probably responding to a bot anyway. That guy's a fucking moron. But like, holy shit, dude, that should terrify you. I mean, whatever I posted here is definitely like what I am. I mean, it's all of this here. The U.S. Census Bureau, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Labor, Department of Agriculture, Food Drug Administration, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Labor, again, really important there. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, the Federal Election Commission, and it's so many more. I could gish gab all day here, but like all these things that are just like fundamentally a fabric of a functioning government that leads to like you not having to worry about dumb shit. Oh yeah, I mean this is like the whole thing. Like the stability that you even know or the lack of it right now is like nothing compared to how crazy it can get. So yeah, it's about to be it's gonna be nuts. Not to doom post here. No, those videos are all from like over the course of like it's like when Trump first denied what Project 2025 was whenever it was getting a bad rep back in June. The summit was in 2022. The guy with the on the couch was like June of 2024, and then the last one I don't know. I sometime earlier this year. I don't know exactly when, but you know they're all very relevant here. I would take them seriously. Game Hunter. So do we have any hope, or are we just boned? I've been struggling to find anything that will help keep Project 2025 from happening. Well, the good news is we can keep tabs. We can keep tabs on the House of Representatives right now. If Democrats can hold the House and not give Republicans president, executive branch, Senate, and House majority, then there will be 1 point of opposition, thankfully then. So that's like they're still like I think like what is it like 6 seats still up for contention right now, and if Democrats hold the House, then it won't be like a then in theory they have to at least wait until 2026 to win more elections to then be able to do everything they technically want to do. There also is just trademark Republican incompetence. Remember how like Republicans were ready to like abolish Obamacare, but then they couldn't get a Trump approved replacement healthcare bill out because they just didn't get it done before 2020 or whatever. So they could be incompetent. That's a possibility. But incompetence will still mean chaos, and they're definitely happy with like burning down with red tape whatever currently exists, not exactly building a functional replacement here. So they can do a lot. Notice what I said here. What I said was they can't do everything. So I mean, I'm trying to give Game Hunter hope here. If Democrats hold the House, they can't do everything. I mean, they have a rogue Supreme Court, so I mean, they can kind of like do a lot, and the Supreme Court's definitely gonna let them like weasel around congressional approval. Unfortunately, it's bad. I'll be real. It's really, really bad. I'm trying to get that too much attention right now because I know that people don't really. I know that I don't want to really give y'all reason to get depressed and all that for sure. I just focus on what we do have right now here. You know what I mean? Democrats need to win 27 of those 35 seats. Thank you, G-Bads. Yeah, so we'll keep tabs here. That's if you want something to focus on right now that's not like 100% doomer fuel, keep tabs on the House race currently, or the races for House representative seats. Who do you think some of the Democrats' hot names are for 2028? Oh, bro, I ain't even worried about that right now. You're asking the wrong questions here. You should be asking here, how is the organization coming here with gutting? I don't even want to talk about Democrats 2028. I want to talk about gutting that whole party apart, because this loss yesterday, needs to be the final straw here. It needs to be gutted from the inside out with new leadership, new everything. Violent Band-Aid ripping wake-up call. I don't even want to talk about 2028. You don't have a united base to even be enthusiastic here. Fuck Democrats right now. So no, we are not even contemplating that. I need to see organization from the very jump. I need tangible political pressure from the left. I need them to embrace engaging their voter base here. Democrats do not currently do that right now. So all the way through here. The proper conversation is pruning the DNC and getting bold new leadership involved. Perhaps start with the squad. You know, maybe AOC and company can like do more maybe here. I don't know. You know, Bernie's post here kind of gave some sauce here. I don't know if y'all if we go over there again and see. At the very end here, in the coming weeks and months, those of us concerned about grassroots democracy and economic justice need to have some very serious political discussions. Stay tuned. That sounds like we're cooking something there, y'all. So I would wait here and see. I'm sure those who, you know, all the people who are involved here, whether it be like Justice Democrats, the squad, Bernie's camp, you know, Stacey Abrams, Nina Turner, like there are plenty of prolific progressive advocating people that I think are paying attention and definitely probably want to get involved in doing something here. So I don't have the answer for you right now here, but I'm trying to supply you with reasons to have hope right now. The hope here is that there's nothing left to lose, so there's no longer the need to worry about like appeasing moderates. Fuck moderates. You gotta get whatever's gonna get people engaged and get out there to vote all the way through here. So we will see. We will see, chat. I am hopeful for what's to come because we have to be. There's no other option here. To become what's tempting here is to become politically disengaged and just kind of be like, okay, I'm overwhelmed and I hate life and I'm fucking done. Which is, of course, it's a lucrative pull, and I can't blame you if you do that. But at the same time here right now, like now is the time when like there's nothing left to lose. So the party that lost has no excuses now. There's nothing that can be like, unironically, we have the most leverage at this time to inspire change. So, So yeah, I'm looking forward to, if anything here, look, I give you permission to disengage. I get it. You know, it's especially if you're like gay or trans, you know, I totally get it. Like it's perpetual sadness here, but keep tabs. I'll let you know. I'm going to be on this shit. Okay. So the minute that I have something positive to report here, I will let you know what is coming from this potential organizing effort to inspire the progressive and populist policy enthusiasm here. I'll let y'all know, okay? I can promise you that. So smack that follow button. Hopefully you're less sad now than you were when the stream started here, and we can be part of a positive thing all the way through. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But in a way, it's like, in a cynical way here, I've always been, I never want to publicly endorse accelerationist theory where like things have to get bad before people unite to then do like actionable change. You know, it's kind of like how, for example, if there was this like Earth killing asteroid coming to the planet, right? It would knock this asteroid in question is like fucking huge, and if it hits Earth, it will knock Earth like 1.5% off its rotational axis, which will result in like incredibly problematic, unstable weather patterns forever, right? Clearly, we need to deter this asteroid, meteorite, whatever here, and it's going to require the collaboration of nearly every nation on this planet. If the peril and threat of this were to be a thing, the ego of nations would dissolve and they would unite together and make it happen. Is the idea here, right? And so in that context, I'm reaffirming here, like, accelerationist theory, where things get so bad, things have to get really bad to a peril degree for change to really occur. And if you subscribe to that, I suppose, here, then we're kind of at that point already right now. We're already, not that I was hoping for this to happen here, but we're already there now here. So now there's nothing to lose. Like now is a time to like organize like a motherfucker and just fucking make it happen here. So, we must unite against Dr. Manhattan. So yeah, we will see, chat. We will see. And, okay. My final thing I can show you today is I have some exciting news here. This is concerning my networking issues. Y'all may know that I had some router issues here, chat. Remember before when I told y'all my router was not making the YouTube domain work, and then I thought that it was my Wi-Fi lights that were making the YouTube not work? I now actually have the answer. I now know for real why my router was not working. Because it's not working right now. I am not using Psalm request because I am blocked again from YouTube today. And I finally know the answer. So when I load YouTube, okay, you'll see here in the networking console that I got some errors here. Error 429. Error 429 is what happens whenever you have too many requests. So what I found out is there is something going on in my web browser that was making YouTube load hundreds of times at once, and YouTube was giving me a silent block on the site for, you know, whatever, 24 hours, 4 days, whatever it may be here. So with that, now that we identified what actually was happening here, I've determined here there are some culprits. In that there, in the end here, chat, now it's gonna seem obvious now that the extensions I was using were sussy wussy, but this wasn't, at the time, I didn't think this was an error 429 thing. We kept thinking it was like a local router networking issue, not a YouTube blocking issue here. All right, so is it the show? The 3 extensions I use on YouTube are show YouTube comments while watching, which is a simple CSS tool, I believe here, that moves the comments to the right side rather than being in the bottom here, so you can read comments while you're consuming a video. I like it a lot, but maybe it, in theory, is this pulling all the YouTube comments, the thousands of comments at one time, and doing some like awkward implementation of an API call and making the YouTube site freak out and give me a silent ban? I don't know. But I tell you what, I'm not using that shit anymore. Was it the YouTube playlist duration calculator? Whenever I use this here to like micromanage my YouTube playlists from when I was doing the sub marathon? Again, I don't know. I don't think so. This one particularly here, because I don't think this was like really that buggy or whatever. Was it the multi-select for YouTube, a tool where you're allowed, that lets you manage your playlists much more efficiently, so you can select them and then bulk move to top and bottom, etc. here? I don't think it was this one either. But here's a red flag here. Show YouTube comments while watching was last updated in 2022, and the YouTube API, or the YouTube site, is always changing here, so it might it might be doing this in a way that YouTube, the website, does not like, and then you get a silent ban. I don't know. But in the end here, I now have clarity finally for what was causing the entirety of my situation, which is nuts because you would think here that when I called Google and I told them that I was why my account banned, maybe they would have seen on their end here like this whole error 429 shit or whatever. So yeah, and not only that, we have evidence here from Redditors who ran into the same fucking issue. Now that we knew it was error 429, we had something to finally search. And of course, on Reddit, there were other people who were running into the same issue now and bringing clarity to the situation here. Who did I call at Google? Well, I called, so I'm subscribed to Google One, which is like their bundled service where you get like extra. Google One is generally the thing you're paying for when you're buying Google Drive storage. And so because I'm a Google One subscriber, and my Google Drive is like, you know, not the default 15 gigs. It's I have a 200 gig Google Drive. Being a Google One subscriber gives you a phone number to actually call a human being because you're paying money to Google, pay to customer service. And so I was able to call Google on that behalf and actually get a person within like 20 minutes of holding. So yeah, that's how. If you're a normal pleb, yeah, good luck, bro. You're gonna get bots all fucking day. So, but yeah, that's so yeah. Right now, Google for me is currently not working, and what I'm doing right now is I'm not gonna reload Google because I'm assuming here when I refresh, it might be brain fart here. It might reset the timeout. I don't know. So for now, I have all those extensions disabled here, and I will get back to that at a later time. But yeah, I finally now know it was never my router. It was not the second router, the first router. All this IP, ISP phone calls, MAC address resetting, and all this shit chat, all of it, and it was just a Chrome extension the fucking time, dude. So. What's the lesson you're learning, chat? The lesson learned here is, if you're gonna install a Chrome extension, make sure it's one that is recent and always updated. I still don't know which of these three extensions were the problem here, but in the end, here you are right now here. Well, see, again, it's gonna clarify here. The troubleshooting with the extensions was what I wanted to do. But again, there were so many false positives that I thought it was a networking issue the whole time. And again, there are no positives here. Like, there's no indication of such. We only know now because we finally had the idea that it was to hop in Inspector and find out what was going on there. But yeah, I confidently thought it was a networking issue the whole time. So yeah. Lesson learned for sure. All right then. Well, with that, chat, I think it's time for me to go to bed. I'll be back here tomorrow. If you get a chance here, if y'all want to read more about Project 2025, there's this great thread that Emily here dropped back in June that it's a fun read. If what I said was too much here, you can look at this here. It's like a nice little 30-part tweet that kind of breaks down more things in this project to be warned about. Also, Matt Walsh said here that now the election's over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually 2025 is the agenda. Bro, these people, bro. These fucking people, dude. So yeah, there we go. That's everything. Let's find someone to raid. Oh, it's a fun read though. It's a fun read. So I'll be back tomorrow, chat, and And the reason why I'm promising we're back on gameplay, we're back on good vibes and gameplay and everything else here. On Friday, not tomorrow, Thursdays, because Thursday I was invited to a podcast with some other Black content creators. They want to talk about the election. They really want me on, and I was like, okay, you know what? Sure, let's go ahead and hop on in here. So yeah, I'm gonna be on a podcast thing tomorrow. It'll be pretty lit. So if you're down with the cause, we'll be here tomorrow for that. That and other things here. That won't be the whole stream. It's just like, you know, that's like the thing that I'm gonna do a little prep for. They want me on and whatnot. Which podcast? I don't know what it's called here. Fanatic. We're gonna rate him actually. Fanatic invited me to it. I don't know who's confirmed yet here, but I'm assuming it's just like gonna be like a. If you recall, last time I was on Fanatic's a podcast with Fanatic, it was it was us. It was the Kendrick Lamar people versus the Drake supporters, and yeah, I mean we had a pretty fun time. Remember that? It was during the subathon. So yeah, we're gonna look at that tomorrow, and that in addition to, you know, some maybe some gameplay here. I can't imagine I'm gonna have like much more to talk about at this point. From here, all that's left to talk about concerning the election would just be like doom scrolling and breaking down how fucked everything's gonna be here, which is not really the funnest topic anyway. So I'd rather we just kind of I'd rather I play my role here and I give y'all a good time. Y'all come here, I want to be happy, y'all want to be happy. In the end chat, we have each other. You know what I'm saying? I got y'all and y'all got me. I think now's that time to really like kind of like come together and really like, you know, we gotta be there for one another. I've learned from the past. I've learned from 2019 and 2020 here to, you know, in the end, if I'm not providing that relief for y'all just going to fucking, you know, y'all will go where y'all need to for harm reduction. I'm causing active mental health harm by doom scrolling and not being the person you need. So it will be different this time, for sure. You feel me? Cherry Pie, you think everything is going to be messed up? How? I dropped that in my well, if you have time, here, you can read my tweet here. If you want to know the how, you can just scroll down and take a read on what I'm spitting here. Let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. All right, so let's go ahead and raid Mr. Fanatic, and I will see y'all tomorrow. I will also oh, here, let me drop my blue sky actually, because I need to probably like let me see here. My blue sky is how do you link this here? Yep, okay. So, yeah, y'all can come over to Blue Sky if you want to. I have not, all I did was retweet the this cat picture in 2023, but here's my Blue Sky. Come tell me hi. If y'all are already there, I will come check out the bluer sky on the other side and whatnot. So, why you should have a cat. Yeah, man, there's a lot more of this going on over there, by the way. So you might see me on Blue Sky a lot more often now. And things like that here. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all.